To say really thanks a million for coming. Great show, you know. I was surprised at so many so early. Everybody came at 12 o'clock, but look, really appreciate it. Just want to say why I thought of doing this rather than, you know, people say, oh, do fundraisers, you know, do all of that, but I just felt a lot of people, I know you're wishing me well, I know that people kind of want to support, but often people don't know what to do, how to do it. If you're like me, you know, before I started this, I didn't know one thing really. Although I had canvassed, I have to say, when I was in college, funny enough. But, so I kind of knew that bit. But, you know, often you don't know how you can help. And you can help in 1,000 ways. Now, there are people here who've been out, let me tell you, every night, getting as slim as myself. But it's true. Weight just goes, you know. So I thought I might just spend a moment and say why I've taken, you know, why have I sort of got off the sofa, why have I put down my tennis racket to all my tennis friends for a couple of months. Sorry about that, Mary.
Yes, excuse me.
Yeah, there's my doubles partner. And, you know, what really got me going, and I just want to share that a little bit, because I think if you don't understand who I am, what I stand for, and what I really care about, it's very hard for you to speak well of me with other people. And that's a huge way that people can generate support. One of the things for me, I mean, I was shocked, I think everybody was shocked in 2008 when all of that, you know, occurred. Getting kind of warm now. And, you know, when the financial crisis happened, we were all very shocked, but I found myself, I don't know, it was a bit of a light bulb moment. We all have moments like that, don't we, when you look at things differently. For me, it was a light bulb moment. I just thought, wow. You take so much for granted in your life. You know, you kind of work hard, you rear your kids, you know, you pay your tax, you think that everything's kind of being looked after, and I thought everything was being looked after. And I have to say, that was a shock to me. To find that the money you'd put in the bank might be gone. And the other thing that really frightened me was that I felt there was a kind of an anger out there on the streets, and I could see really where that was going. I could see a kind of an intimidation being generated. And I think, as you know, I'm referring to Sinn Féin, and I'm referring to the way that they have been very good at harnessing that fear. And that made me worried, I have to say, because I do not want my children growing up in that environment. So that's what really got me off the sofa. Okay, that was, I suppose, about 2 years ago, and we all know what I did in the local elections, ran the legs off myself again, and then the water protests started, remember all of that? Oh my God, that was the hardest thing I've ever done. And we've been talking on this campaign, you know, we've been up through Howth and Sutton and Clontarf and all right down through the coast especially, and people are just so incredibly nice all the time. And I was saying, you know, my God, the last time the feeling was so negative. And I understood it, you know, people were very annoyed about the water charges. Trina would remember it well. I mean, they as good as, I think a man threatened one day to throw the sofa out on top of me, and I thought, yeah, well, maybe we leave that one. We're definitely not going to get there, and that's what you find with it. You just have to read it, don't you, very quickly. So here I am, I'm a general election candidate now, and I feel I've done well to get this far, let me say. It is not easy. It is most meetings you go to, there is maybe one woman or two, at the very, very most. So it's quite a male-dominated environment. And I have to say, it's not a hostile environment. You know, I wouldn't be suggesting that. I think it's quite important not to put that spin on it. But at the same time, it is an environment where men are used to, there's a lot of men in situ, and there are a lot of men who are very used to their position. And naturally they draw in other men, and that's how it goes. It's a natural thing. But I have noticed, because I am standing as a woman, I have drawn in a lot of women. And we were out last night canvassing, we had 10 people, and 5 of them were women. And I don't think you've met that many canvassers, you know, female canvassers at the door. So it's just that I think it has an organic good shift if you have women on the ticket. And of course it's up to us to prove ourselves, it's up to us to get the votes. I'm not afraid of competition, and as you can see, I'm not afraid of a fight. If it has to happen, it has to happen. But it's not my first point of action. You know, if I need to, I was saying to somebody recently, well, I have 7 brothers and 5 sisters, and I rather learned to stand up for myself quite early. And so you know, bring it on. If it's necessary, I'll do it. So here I am in the campaign, and I know that there's, you know, we go out every day 12 and 6. Yeah, it's a lot. Now that'll be the case for the next 3 weeks, but it's not forever. It's for a good cause. I feel it's a worthy fight. I want you to know about the things that are really important to me, the things that are kind of driving me in the campaign. Sinn Féin was one of them. Mental health is the other. You know, I've done 25 years in a mental health area. So I can tell you that mental health has not improved, hardly improved in that time. We're way behind best practice, we're way behind in terms of budgets for health and, you know, for mental health, and I would like to see that changed. And I feel I can contribute to that in a very positive way. I have a very positive view of mental health. I really feel you can do things to make things better. I think we should be looking after kids in school, and there's a lot of people here I know with young children. You can build resilience in children, and we need to be doing that in schools. We need to be doing it. We know that people have problems at transition points. Why do we not focus in on those points? We don't do that. There's a very small amount of programs started, teachers will know it, but we need much more on that level. Okay, and then the other local issues that have come up quite a lot here are the Stop the Seawall, which everybody knows about. There's some, for local people here, there's things people are really concerned about. The seawall, which is too high, and not to give you a whole big rigmarole on it, but essentially it is that it was specifically at the area of St. Anne's people were annoyed about, because that is an area that does not flood. There are many areas that do flood, but it seemed that the wall was highest where it didn't flood. So that in a nutshell is that issue. But there are a lot of people very, very focused on that. The other big issue that's going on in this area that I've been very involved in is the St. Anne's, the sale of St. Anne's, St. Paul's grounds, which are part and parcel of St. Anne's, and they have some ownership there. And these have been sold for commercial development, and people are really, really unhappy about that. And I have to say, I am with them on that. And the reason I'm with them on that is because those lands were given in a benevolent way to the Vincentians for educational purposes, and now they're sold off commercially for an enormous amount of money. So I am against it, and I will fight against it, you know, on behalf of residents. I think it's an important one. The other one you will have heard a lot about is the dumping of the 10 million tonnes. Just good for you to know kind of the things I've been involved in. The 10 million tonnes of silt into the bay. This is a whole issue around the Dublin Port Company sought an EPA licence, which is an Environmental Protection Agency licence, to dredge and dump 10 million tonnes of seabed silt, and to pop it out there into the bay, just off the Bailey Lighthouse, just beside me with and just to say, there's a few people here behind Pather who is very involved in diving and is very aware of all of the consequences of that kind of, not only the dumping, but the dredging. So the huge issues with dredging are that it disturbs and can really bring back into kind of circulation contaminants that would have been in the seabed but already, you know, buried and encased. But the dumping issue is that by putting this dumping out of the Bailey Lighthouse, it is going to wash back in, because the analysis has shown that is what is happening. And if you lived up where I do, which is up off the Kilbarrack Road and on that area there between Raheny and the Dublin Road, really on the Raheny to Sutton bit, there's a Blue Lagoon, as we call it, area on the right. And that area is silting up very rapidly. And we can see it with our naked eye walking around, you know, going for walks. And there's a very strong understanding out there that it is the silting and the silt coming back in and being washed back in. So if we put another 10 million tonnes out, it's not going to happen. So they're the big ones. Obviously, I'm very interested in everything that makes the country better. But they're the ones I've been pushing on. They're the ones you'll find in my leaflet. And what I'm saying to people like yourselves who've been lovely to me is, if speaking about it, speaking well of me, Facebooking, if you don't want to canvass, if you want to canvass, you're more than welcome. But not everybody can do that sometimes with young children. So I really, I get that. But I do think that spreading the word is very important. And at the end, we're probably going to try and do some telephoning and really encouraging people, seeing if you might ask your friends. Things like that do make a big difference. And everybody knows people, around them. And I noticed this the last time. People talk about, you need 6,000 votes. That's what I will need. But they come out of those boxes one at a time. I noticed that. So never underestimate a vote, a chat, a talk. And I know that from the doors. You just have to do it 1, 2 at a time, and it does build. Now I have been canvassing, as you know, solidly since probably last January, so I have a lot of work done. The groundwork is done, and there is no doubt it's about build and visibility, and that's what we're doing. I'm sure you saw our lovely jackets, which I've taken off. My lovely posters, which are a little bit differentiated. I mean, they're Fine Gael, of course, and maybe I should just say a word about that, because I know I'm making it very personal. I am completely committed to Fine Gael. Why am I? I always voted Fine Gael. I always saw them as a party, I have to say, who are honourable and decent. That's for me. That's my politics. Now, remember, I came out of a family where my father voted Fine Gael and my mother voted Fianna Fáil. That was very much the case, I think, in those few years gone by. And election time was always, rod stiff in the household. It was, because it was almost around that time when men thought that their wives should do what they told. Long gone, as they say. Long gone, but that is long gone, as they said. Yeah. But just to say, in terms of that, I just want you to know, I'm absolutely never going to be that person who leaves the party and takes the votes that have been accumulated to me. And in a minute. Yeah, in a minute. Just to say, I really do not believe that people should leave the party and take the votes that they have accumulated and take them with them. I absolutely don't. So I will not be doing that, because I believe if you disagree with the party, you stay at the table and you persuade. That's the job. Politics is the business of persuading, getting your point of view across, and understanding that everybody else has a point of view that's very different. I'm really happy with that. The last thing I would say is I'm not afraid of anybody's point of view. I'm not afraid to explore that. And something I mentioned yesterday when it came up in some Twitter array, and I said I think we need to look at helping people and really encouraging people, persuading them and changing their minds about Fine Gael, changing their minds about politics, making them believe in it, making them trust it and respect it. And that is what I want to contribute to. That I think would really put us in a really better place. So all your help, all your good wishes. Thanks a million. Yeah, of course. This is Anne-Marie Edouard, who I'll just give you an introduction.
All right.
Who is a party member and who has been very, very supportive to me.
Hi everyone. I'm sorry for interrupting and getting on the stage as well, but I'd just like to say about Stephanie. We both joined the party at the same time, and it astounds me how much this girl has achieved in the short time she's been in the party. She is a champion for women, she is a champion for local issues, and as she says, you don't have to go out every day canvassing. If you can, you're more than welcome. As you can see, I'm not able to do it because one of my legs doesn't work very well, so I'd only slow them down. On the other hand, I can't drive either, and I use taxis a lot, and I must have canvassed every bloody taxi driver in this building. I swear to God, taxi drivers, the election is bound to come up as a topic of conversation. And I talk to them about Fine Gael. I let them realise how much we have achieved in the 5 years we've been in office. I ask them where they live. If it's Dublin Bay North constituency, I say, well listen, I'm canvassing for Stephanie Regan, who's one of the candidates there, and I tell them about what she's been working on. All you have to do is have conversations with people in a positive way. And as soon as I've paid them and I'm getting out of the car, I say, now don't forget, Stephanie Regan, #1.
It's only a woman's. It's